All right. We are here, audience at home, for the 52nd episode of King Arthur Pendragon 5.2, the Great Pendragon Campaign. It is time for a high impact energy intro. The overlay has been updated. I did my homework. Glimo did not do his, and James crammed it in at the last second. And BigSpoon, the class clown, just sat with his feet on his desk because he did something at the beginning of the year that got him a certified A+ in the class, just as long as he gets attendance. He helped the principal with his car or something. I don't know.
This isn't the first test or the first essay I've had to submit. Where I've been writing it like an hour before it's due.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James, I'm going to say that's probably a universal experience.
Yeah.
So, we're here to play King Arthur Pendragon in the year 507. Gentlemen, I have sent all of you a menu for you to peruse, which includes possible actions you can take at this year's Pentecostal feast. I thought it might be a good change of pace and a way for me to remember all the things that are taking place, and so that you will remember all the things that are taking place. Because sometimes events don't get touched on. This is not a comprehensive list. You can talk to additional people and cause events that are not on this list. But I just wanted to present you with a taste of what you could be having when you arrive at the Chateau Serum and are seated by your concierge at your seat.
And amuse-bouche.
An amuse-bouche, if you would. Wow, I feel so Dropout TV Sam Reich right now. It is the year 507, and we are at Countess Elam's court, being held in Serum. Blodwyn, you've done a lot here, and I see your sheet is updated, but could you please add a directed trait of +3? I will allow you to flavor it how you think your relationship with Sir Leo is. He has acted as your guardian for about a decade. I don't think you had him knight you, but he has basically been the person who has not only been protecting you, but training you and educating you in its entirety. So I think a +3.
So normally, the directed traits apply to personality traits. So I think that in this case, probably trusting is going to be
Okay.
the one it goes with. Yeah.
I think we see Kyned and Kendric entering together as per usual, and then just to indicate that we're in a new season, right? And there's a new female character. There's like a little flute energy as a clumsy young woman walks into the back of them, and then it's like, oh, I know your father. It's sort of I was there when he was brutally murdered by a giant. That's what happened, right?
No, wasn't it a giant or the
It was
knuckle?
the knuckle eating.
Knuckle-Levy, yeah. It was a long time ago. That was like 50 episodes ago.
Kendric and Harad got absolutely rocked in the first 2 rounds, and then Owain died by a death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal. Anyway, so Blodwyn meets up with the two of you while you are standing at the entrance. You see all the things on this menu, which I'm going to read out loud for our audience at home. Your choices are court gossip box test, discussion of news from afar, your choice of intrigues, intrigue the princes, or intrigues pent and tonics, select guests only, meet the countess, rumors, the shield of the west, or rumors, the shield of the south, and an event called the New Lords, Marston, Porton, Overwallop, and Codford.
All right.
What did the three of you want to do?
I'd like to order off the menu, chef.
Oh, I see. What can we get you from the kitchen?
I would like a description of Blodwyn, so that we know what she looks like.
Very well.
All right. So I think that probably I think Blodwyn has inherited a lot of traits from Owain. So she has his blonde hair, for example. I think I think he had sort of like classic good looks as opposed to Quicken, who is much more plain. And yeah, Blodwyn has inherited both that from him, and also, I guess, from her lady mother. She's relatively small as far as knights go. I think she's average for a woman, which is still probably about, 15% smaller than the average knight. And probably is still getting used to carrying herself as a knight. Like I think I sort of worked out when making this character that she probably originally started as training to be a lady's maid, but then sort of partway through they decided actually, we need a knight to lead this house, so we're going to switch your training up to do knightly training. So I think that yeah, she's still getting used to like the Gambison and or not carrying a sword in the court, but just sort of trying to present herself as a knight rather than anything else that she was trained for. So it's probably there's a bit of nervousness in there, I think. And like that's sort of definitely I'm going to say everything very slowly so I don't say the wrong thing. This is sort of I guess the way that she's currently acting.
Okay.
And I'll say above the table as well that I use the rules for copying your father's passions, where you roll a d6 for every 4 points, or you divide by 4, rounding mathematically, and then roll that many d6. And I actually ended up with not high, a relatively high loyalty fellowship. So I think that Blodwyn has sort of followed stories about the Order of the Axe. So it's like much higher than Quicken ever was. Quicken was like 6 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where she's 14 in loyalty Order of the Axe. So
welcome to court, Blodwyn. It's
thank you, thank you, Sir Kendric. Wow. Okay. It's So what I've only just come to this court. I've been with the House of Sir Leo. What should I be expecting, or what should I be doing?
well,
Where do I stand?
Uh, there's quite a lot to be done. Typically, court for knights is used to gather information about the goings on in the realm and what we might be doing in the coming year. I think it would be good for you to meet with the Countess. Typically the Order of the Axe are some of her closest supporters and closest advisors. And otherwise, you're free to do as you would like.
I don't think I should be approaching her on my own. So maybe when you go to see her, I will come with you.
Yes, of course. And Kendric will pat her on the shoulder and turn and go sit with his family.
Right. I stand there and kick the dirt for a few seconds.
You need to know anything about the goings on in court, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I will be wandering about for the first part of the evening.
Thank you, Sir Kyned.
And with that, I think Kyned will seek out Pent and Tonics.
You go over to meet with Pent and Tonics. Pent is standing on a bench by the hearth, and you can tell it's making some of the higher nobles here nervous, and the guards are looking on askance. But the lower nobility and knights are all deeply thrilled by this breach of propriety. Pent is dressed in a extremely well-fitting noble coat. He looks like he could be a noble himself. His fit is immaculate, and you can see that Tonics is nearby, and the three of them are playing instruments and doing the vocal accompaniment. And then they all stop as Pent begins his spoken word poetry. He says, "Cease. Pledge. Hearken." He furls. What are you laughing at, Spoon?
I'm just wondering what song this is.
Okay. He flings his coat out wide and says, "Drips of cinnamon hath returned with a new revelation. Grasped as I am by concept and emotion, will this ever cease? Yo, I don't know. Drips of cinnamon." Nearby, people begin golf clapping. He hops down from the bench, does a overly dramatic bow in which he flips the tailcoat of his coat outwardly. And at this point, we can see that he has advanced fashion by about 200 years. No, because we're moving into the Boy King era, fashion will advance, as will armor and swords. Just give me. The man who wants Book of the Feast is pretty judgmental about this fashion jump thing.
I dig it. I'm all about it.
He has advanced fashion forward, and you can tell that the prototypical British suit is beginning its beginnings in whoever made this outfit for him. "My lord," as he struts over to you, and then takes your hand and holds it high, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's who they work for!" And the clapping becomes louder. "Sir Kyned! Ah, the romantic night, everyone! Woo!"
Pentagonics, everyone.
Tonics begins doing like a Boys to Men a cappella line in the background just to entertain people. Pent turns to you and says, "My lord, is there some favor that I may return to you for your gracious patronage this year?" And he extends over to you a bag which has 4 pounds in it.
Oh.
Your take from our hall this year. There were many mayors and lords beside who were greatly found it convenient to have entertainers bearing your name to spread news for them. We have gathered secrets and petty news from near, far, wherever you are, on your behalf. I'm afraid we're still getting used to this spy thing, but gossip, we're fully in the market.
Some of the best intelligence comes from gossip, so I'd love to hear what you've heard.
Okay. Make an intrigue roll.
That is a success.
Very well. So you could see that he's a little, I don't want to say put out, let's say apprehensive about sharing this particular set of information. And he says, "My lord, I have heard that in the coming days there will be a great conflict across the land. That should come as no surprise to you. You are no stranger to the battle between the Saxons, the King of Cornwall, and the supposed High King of the Middle Countries. You should know there are rumors that north of Hadrian's Wall the Picts are assembling. They could fall onto the rear of Nantiliote's forces quite easily. It is not undefended, nor are the northern counties of Logres undefended, but many of the men are committed here in the southernmost parts of the island." And he gestures to someone you hadn't seen until just now. Sir Clambit of Prella is still here, the Scottish knight who works as a courtier for King Lot. He served as a messenger last year. Perhaps our friend may know more.
Well, thank you for this. I shall see what I can get from my Scottish friend.
I don't think they call it Scottish yet. I think they call it Alba right now, but yes. I get it. I'm woke to the truths of the world. Is there
Caledonia.
anything we can put out into the world for you this year? Perhaps some virtue you would like promoted, a story, a song, a sonnet, a limerick?
I leave it in your hands for now.
Very well. We're working on a new little ditty about Sir Ulfius.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's called the King Who Didn't Have a Castle.
I will be very interested to hear it once it is done.
We'll send you an advanced copy.
And I think I will run down someone from the kitchens to see if they could put some haggis on for when I go and see Sir
The
Clembert.
chef sends you a note that it's going to take him at least 2 hours to prepare fresh haggis. They're going to have to go kill a goat for you and then clean it.
Excellent.
Okay.
I love the way when someone tries to tell you something's really hard as a way to say I can't do that. You're like, excellent, go do that really hard job.
I'll wait. Go ahead.
That sounds horrible for you.
Well,
I think that I am going to sample the news from afar, but I think the way that looks is Blodwyn sort of like, anytime there's a group of people staying together talking, she's one of those people that sort of like ends up like walking up to the outside of the circle, hoping that the circle will like open enough to admit her.
that's me.
Yeah, and then eventually moving to the next circle.
I
So
gotcha.
it's not active conversation. It is active listening, but like trying to look like she is part of whatever is going on here.
You find yourself in the orbit of a woman who we've never seen before, who I will ask.
Is it Quiggins' wife?
It is Lady Kunaware. I would like you to describe what she looks like now.
So she's in her 40. I think she's 40 now. Let me check. She is 40 this year. So I think that she has like curly chestnut hair that has just sort of got the very early sort of grey wisps in it. And I think that she's someone who's spent 20 years in basically a loveless marriage, but with lots of children. So I think that she comports herself in a courtly way, but has that sort of matronly style about her now, where anytime somebody who's younger does the wrong thing, she's quick to sort of pull them aside and say, this is what you should have done instead, sort of thing. Not to pull them up and attack them in public, but certainly to mother people throughout the room when necessary.
So as Blodwyn moves to the outside of this orbit, right? Kunware is in the center, and then it's like a half circle of nobles. Her power is diminished. She used to be extremely powerful, like easily one of the top 5 women of the court. But even with her husband moving out west, and she is also out west there, her level of finance may not continue to be at that level, but her level of fame and glory is still the same. And she has exchanged that for a fresh place as the sort of chief gossip monger here in court. So she has the ear of several important men and their wives. And as she goes through the list of things that are happening this year, the first bit of information you pick up is that an unnamed knight killed some peasants up north, and that's north of Salisbury, not north of England or Logres. Some peasants were cursing him, and he got off of his horse and then like brutally beat the 3 peasants to death. And there was some question about the legality of it, but Now it's just a question of his level of restraint. They don't name the knight, but if you would like to make a recognize roll, they all seem to know who he is and are describing him by his traits.
Right. First roll for new character. You ready for it?
Yeah? You want to spend
That's
fate?
Not 2 under a
Nice.
5. Wow.
Sorry, I don't know that anyone is going to get the spend fate reference. Don't worry about
If
it.
you come back, well, not tomorrow because I won't be here tomorrow. But yeah, next Sunday.
Yes.
You can learn all about it.
It's not that funny, just to be very clear. It's not that funny. Yeah. Gosh, what was this guy's name? He's the Progress Knight. I seem to have misplaced my tag for him, but
hang on. Is it Sir? Hang on, let me get to the first couple of years after the feast.
I'm glad somebody's taking better notes than me.
Because I remember we were going to try and recruit him, but he was already a progress knight.
Yes.
Arnold, Sir Arnold.
Yes, Sir Arnold, right? ARNALT.
Yes.
Yes. So Sir Arnold is the knight who did it. He has become well known for his sadism and cruelty and his impatience. And people are not surprised to hear that he did this, but they are, I wouldn't say shocked, just disappointed by his behavior. That said, it is completely legal. Some other pieces of information that you pick up are that the King of Wessex and Chief Port have made an alliance. They've cut a bull in half and stood between the two parts and made a vow of friendship. Now, I don't know if Blodwyn knows the significance of this, but I think that having seen that she entered the sphere, Kunaware will do something like an exposition dump, like, as you know. You know what I mean? Something that everyone else there would already know, but for a young protege who's interested in entering into this realm, she says, as you know, Chief Port arrived several years ago and took the city of Port, a port really, off of the hands of the King of Wessex, Cerdic. But now they are making an alliance together, and the target of their alliance is, of course, us.
Yeah.
And the final piece of information that she has to share is that Duke Corneus, with a hefty number of Anglish mercenaries, is marching on London, or as it's known, the Kingless Castle, without Ulfius holding it.
All right. Thank you.
Excellent. I believe that brings us back around to Kendric, who previously ordered off menu like a lunatic. Would you like to have your kid maybe order a burger and we can send a server over to McDonald's down the street, pick it up and bring it back?
Yeah. No, I think Kendric is going to meet with the Countess first individually, and then he'll bring the Order of the Axe and Blodwyn over. But the first order of business is he is again going to attempt to get the Countess to approve his betrothal between Tathan, his son, and Mayrid, the heiress to the Hewell's barony.
Okay.
So I'm a +9 now. That isn't even going to do it.
Rough. That's rough,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah.
I believe you
It's-
need to make a follow-up roll to sustain your point total.
Yes, I need to make a courtesy check. Success.
Mayrid is getting older and older, which in extremely practical, let me be clear, medieval values, which are not shared by me, reduces her value which every year passes, but she is still an extremely valuable card. Her number of potential vassal knights and her dowry is quite enormous. And the Countess is greatly pleased to have you as an ally and supporter, but to hand away the hand of this woman to your son would be to overplay. I mean, potentially, she could be considering marrying her own son to this young woman.
Yeah, and
they're both old enough.
That's one of the things. Is like she doesn't really need the alliance with me.
You don't make peace with friends,
right? So we'll see.
You make peace with enemies.
Mm-hmm.
We will see. We will see indeed. Very well, Sir Kyned. As long as we're going circle-wise, cyclically, is there anything on the menu I can tempt you with, or perhaps you'd like me to run over to Taco Bell and get you a few soft tacos?
I would like to take my if it's been long enough that the kitchen is done, then I will go and see.
Yeah, let's say
Sir
2
Clambert.
hours have passed at this point, and they got a fresh steaming haggis, I guess. Do you bake haggis? It's raw, right?
No, it's cooked.
It's
cooked,
cooked.
yeah.
Okay, yes, it's a fresh steaming haggis, and you head over to speak with Sir Clambert of Prella.
So, out of interest, have you actually ever had haggis AP?
Me? No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I know the general composition of it, like what goes inside, but no, I've never had it. I've never seen it served.
There's a Scottish myth about a city called Brigadoon that vanishes and reappears every few years. And south of Sydney, there's a town called Bundanoon. And every year they do a celebration called Bundanoon is Brigadoon, where they change the name of the town. Like they go and replace all the signs at the train station, and they do a big Scottish festival there. So yeah, I've had haggis there many times.
Is it good?
I mean, it's better than blood sausage.
Listen, James, I'm asking this knowing that you are the people that invented Vegemite.
Yeah,
so
it's better than blood sausage. I've had blood sausage
Jesus,
as well.
well, okay. That's not saying much, but all right.
Yeah, no, it surprised me. It's like it is like having a soft sausage that's got a lot more sort of like oats and like not meat in it as well, which is okay. So
now look, I have no problem with British people or their descendants. America was built on the descendants of British people, but British cuisine takes a piece of bread and calls it pudding. So
I mean, you've had boudin.
Boudin?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
Like the Louisiana rice sausage.
Oh. I mean, if I did, it was when I was 4 years old, my man.
Okay.
in Baton Rouge.
In Baton Rouge! It's a great place when you're 4 years old and your mom's like, don't look at that. When you wake up and there's alligators in your front yard and snakes in your trash cans. Yeah. Baton Rouge. When you live right up against the water and the judges closed all the public pools because the local pool authorities wouldn't let black people in. That happened in 1990. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. But no, I don't think you don't like that? You don't like that? I think they were still closed until about 4 or 5 years ago. They were closed for a long time. It was rough. It was rough, my man. So anyway, we circle back to Sir Clambert of Prella.
Mm-hmm.
He is, let's just say he's in like prototypical William Wallace gear. You know, he's wearing a kilt. He's got a hand and a half claymore on his back. I know it's a bit out of date, but let's say we're advancing medieval fashion 200 years, so he's not that out of place. He is fitting in well in the court for what is essentially a foreigner. I mean, the Orkney lands and the Picts of the North are not well thought of, and whether they can even be knights is certainly a question. But Sir Clambert seems to be doing well. He is telling obviously false tales about the size of a fish that he slew in a battle that involves him on a raft in the Irish Sea fighting a sea serpent.
Excellent. I take notes for my jonglers.
Very well. Now, putting together some of the archaic terminology he's using, it does sound like he just caught a 50-pound tuna while deep sea fishing. And the raft may have been a bit more of like a long ship, but he's intentionally obfuscating the tale to make it seem more impressive than it should be. And the mighty sword through which he sliced the animal with, you think might actually just be the paring knife at his belt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He sees you and gestures to everyone else like, "Oh, excuse me a minute. I have to go talk to my friend here, Sir Kyned. I ken that you're well. I seem to have remembered I have an accent."
I so wish I was playing Hunter McGregor again, but
You kick him in the head and he falls off the edge of a cliff and dies in the first episode.
And then you take his sword.
And then you take his sword. And you become a specialist at close-range mech brawling.
Sir Clambett, I brought you a little bit of home.
Oh! And then he says a bunch of Scottish words, you know. Man, if this were Dropout TV and it was Brennan, it would say made-up Scottish gibberish at the bottom of the subtitles. Och, we cannot know how much this means to me! He digs into some haggis and then offers you half and says, "You want some of it?"
Oh, absolutely.
All right,
And,
two of you share a haggis.
And I, beckon for ale as well.
Okay. Of course, they bring it to you.
And I say, Clement, what are your plans for the next year?
Oh, well, there's so much happening down here that needs tending to, you know. It can be difficult for those who live as far away as my lord does to get proper information and education about the happenings of the South. You people are a mysterious and contentious lot, always fighting each other, separating yourselves by cultural and linguistic lines. I think I'm becoming Norwegian. He just needs someone in the South to write him letters and make sure that all the information gets back north about what's really going on down here. I mean, if you heard tell from the King of Cornwall, you'd think that half of southern England would be conquered by now, and Logres would be in his hand. And if you listen to Nantaleod, you'd think he's the High King.
And if I listen to the wind, I hear that the Picts might cross Hadrian's Wall.
I've heard that tale before. They say it every year. It's only true 1 in 4, I'd say. You know how it is with young men. It can be hard to keep them under control. They want raiding and glory and gold because they've never seen it, or they don't know any other way to acquire it. I wouldn't say that King Lot is preparing to go south of Hadrian's Wall with an army.
Well, if it's just lads being lads, perhaps you could have them try their mettle against the Saxons. Make all of us happy.
Well, let me be clear. I don't give orders to my king.
Understood.
Nor do I direct the sons and second sons and third sons of the great clan chiefs of the north.
But we all know that the right suggestion over the right ale sometimes can move mountains.
I clep you, Sir Kyned, but let me posit this to you. The Saxons and Albans are more natural allies than you might think. I don't think it's any surprise that the Romans, when they arrived, the Latins, define the boundaries of the edge of our land, Hadrian's Wall and other forts and the like. This entire land could have been conquered and been a Roman province, submitted to the Latins, were it not for the pluck of the men of the north. You would still be kneeling before a bloody emperor, rather than kneeling before a high king. So, I posit this to you. The wall's a problem. I don't have any issue with you, Sir Kyned. The problem is lords from North Logres and beyond. We're not the only ones going south of the wall. Sometimes they're going north. And you know what? Celts occupied this land long before the Saxons came. Maybe Cymrics would do well to remember that.
You've given me much to think about.
Now, I'll say this, and I offer this with no guile in mind. Chaos in the south benefits those in the north, as long as no one ends up on top. A unified Logres is a real problem for us. As long as no one wins, we win.
It's complicated being neighbors, isn't it?
Not many neighbors I have to travel 50 days on the back of a horse to get to, but sure. It's a long journey.
Would,
Make an intrigue roll at this point.
That's a success. 13 out of 20.
I think you are reading more than what he's saying out of his words, right? Like, this guy doesn't conduct intrigue and diplomacy in the same way that you do, but he is trying to communicate to you that his official mission here is to make sure that nobody wins, right? As long as you're all fighting each other, you're not going north into, you know, whatever they call, not Glastonbury, Glasgow nowadays, right? You're not marching on the capital of Scotland and those areas. You're not marching on the islands. You're not causing problems for the Orkney. If you guys are all occupied down here, it's better for him. And it's in his best interest to make sure it stays that way. For now, and this is what you're reading from him, he doesn't have to do anything to ensure that. But if he has to, he will.
Can I just say that my memory of Glasgow was standing on a street corner and looking in all four directions. There was a Starbucks within one block.
Pretty sure I had that with a McDonald's in New York City in Manhattan, but yeah. That's one of my favorite part about all of the, like, New York City superhero groups, like Daredevil and what the Defenders or whatever, because it's like, you know that Hell's Kitchen is like 8 city blocks, right? Like, they're like, I'm the defender of Hell's Kitchen, and you're like, oh, he's like the defender of all New York City. No, it's not. Thousands of people live there. It's just not physically very big. You could walk it in about 10 minutes. All right, so you've picked up what he's putting down, which is, I mean, it's well known that you're what passes for a spy master here, right? And he is telling you, in the Scottish way, above board, as much as one can be, that his job is to make sure that no faction wins, which doesn't necessarily mean that Salisbury loses, but, you know, if the Angles start winning, somebody's got to make sure that another force intervenes and attacks the Angles, sort of deal.
Very well.
All right, he cheers you with a mug of ale. and says, "You're ale shit this far south. It won't even put hair on your chest."
Well, I could get some whiskey for us for later.
The water of life? I doubt you have anything passable this far south, but I'll try it. All right, we're back to Blodwyn. You've got the menu, of course.
Yep.
Or anything you'd like to try off menu.
Yeah, I think that because I still need to work out, but I think that I need like a mentor figure for it, which I don't have right now. So, because I think that the blob is going to work out like, hey, so I've made a knight now. Next step is to find a husband, but she doesn't know whether to start like trying to go to knights, go to merchants because she's a knight, etc. So, I think she's just sort of like she's just here picking up the zeitgeist, probably not really doing anything substantial for the menu.
I mean, maybe you'd like to pick up one of the sets of rumors.
I mean, sure, if they come my way. I not that big on intrigue, I don't think, from memory. Even though
This isn't an intrigue check. This is just picking up what's what's going down.
I'm just listening, absorbing what's going on. So sure.
Are you more interested in what's going on in the west of Salisbury or the south?
Oh, let's just see. Well, let's go the west because I'm from the west. So.
Very well. So there are rumors about a knight who's being hailed as the Shield of the West, and it becomes very apparent to you that it is in fact one of your own vassal knights. Sir Guigan is being hailed as the Shield of the West. So Guigan had spent the winter riding up and down the western borders of Salisbury, not like rallying a patrol or anything like that, but just making sure to coordinate all of the lords and make sure that they're all prepared for any like raids from Cornwall and such. After the death of the most senior knight over there, Dame Titania and her crew rode out to the west into Jagant to do a raid themselves and did not return. And there has been no news of her or of her remaining two vassal knights who she hung out with. So there is a new protector of the West, and it is Sir Guigan. Yes, Sir Guigan of the Western Gate. That's what they definitely don't call him. No one calls him that. But they do call him the Shield of the West. And people are very impressed with him, and it definitely seems like he got 50 glory as a result of this information spreading around.
Okay. It's better than the West Salisbury Strangler. So.
The West Salisbury Strangler? Not to be confused with the South Salisbury Strangler.
Of course.
Wow, how many different shows are we going to reference today? The APGamingREAL multiverse intellectual property battle. Okay, this feels like a good place to take our break, and when we return, the three of you can make a decision whether you want to order on menu, off menu, meet the Countess collectively or individually again, etc., etc. So we'll be back, audience, and when we return, we're going to find out more of what's going on. Like that song by Four Non-Blondes. What's going on? Well, well, well. Look what we have here. A live audience and or a captive YouTube audience. So you thought you could escape this show. Well, guess what? You can't close your browser at any time. But until you do, you're locked in here with us. Kendric, it is up to you to make a decision as to what you would like off this menu.
I think I'll take the Shield of the South, Chef.
The Shield of the South. You head to a pocket of not lords nor knights, but you head over to a pocket of particularly important mayors, clergymen, and merchants who are talking about the Shield of the South. Now, when the rumors about the Shield of the West began arriving, a second series of rumors began boiling up about the Shield of the South. You quickly come to the understanding that it is the absent Sir Gwent. Gwent has been falling on hard times, and it sounds as if Winter was deeply unkind to him. And the talk now is about how he is basically being fully funded by the Countess at this point. But the rumors are about how he is a shield not against witches and giants, which of course are all very real and must be defended against. Sir Gwent is a shield against all of the STD-ridden harlots of Salisbury who have flocked to his castle, where he now has an enormous 40 bastards who must be maintained at great cost by the Countess. And many of them are still not young enough, are too young to wield sword and armor yet. But the oldest of whom was successful in helping him slay a witch. Now, Regan can't present this witch because his silver-tinged sword caused her to shrivel up and turn into a black dust when he slew her. But he swears by the Lord God that, yes, indeed, he did slay a witch, and the Countess seems to be very impressed with him. The other thing is that they are calling him the Shield of the South because he has mirrored his castle with strange silver pictogramish runes along the outside, which shine in the light of the sun. Some say that he is spending too much of the Countess's hard-earned money, the tax money of the entire county. But still, much fewer whisper that perhaps these runes are necessary to ward off the evils of the swamps.
Okay.
Some of those evils are, of course, STD-ridden harlots.
Yes, of course. So Sir Gwent is eating up a lot of funds. He doesn't get any profits from his award-winning card game, Sorcery. What was it? Sorcery.
But yes, he also invented Pogs. But the thing is that, as we already know, running a card game is a very enormous, cost-intensive, right? He's barely making a profit off of it. It's certainly not enough to supply 40 bastards and their mothers and a castle that needs to be consistently reinforced with silver dust.
Mm-hmm.
It is keeping a particular mayor of Duplain well fortified in his vaults.
Yeah. Okay.
Very well. Sir Kyned.
Sir Kyned will continue to gorge on intrigue.
Interesting. Our other intrigue is the princes. That's the one you'd like?
Yes, please.
Very well. You find yourself heading over to one of the two competitions that seems to be making its way in this room. So, over in a corner, 4 young men are palling around and seem to have gathered a set of courtiers and squires around them. But you are drawn instead to Prince Mark and Prince Alain de Carlion, who are once again engaged in a best-of-3 competition this year, as they were last year. This time, the first 2 competitions seem to have taken place the day before, because it involved a hunt and a joust. The hunt was won by Sir Alain de Carlion, and the joust was won by Prince Mark. But right now, they appear to be engaged in what can only be called arm wrestling contest, which is being loudly disapproved of by the ladies of the court for being a brutish and barbaric mark of the Saxons. But the 2 of them are sweating and... With that said, they both are occasionally turning glances over toward the Countess, and even as they stop every once in a while, like, they'll continue arm wrestling for like 2 or 3 minutes and then stop to take a break to drink, talk to people, eat. It seems to be a very casual arm wrestling contest, for sure. There is a constant string of messengers going from them to the Countess. I would like you to make an intrigue check.
That's
three.
a success.
It should be of no surprise to you that there is some manner of secret offers being thrown out by both of these groups on behalf of their fathers. You are, however, keenly aware, based on the disposition of the messengers, and just like a quick, you pass a few coins over to one of them and he lets you get the down low. The Countess seems to be deeply upset with King Idris, and as a result is treating Prince Mark poorly and does not seem inclined to answer his letters in full sentences, but instead with yeses or nos, very bluntly and matter of fact. It does sound to your princely ears as if she intends to throw her lot behind King Nanteliode and is simply waiting for Prince Mark to leave before announcing it to her court here. You think that there is an imminent political shift of Salisbury entering into the war and marching to the west, possibly as early as tomorrow morning. And it has been withheld from you, the spy master.
Interesting.
Meanwhile, the two of them agree to take a break from the arm wrestling long enough to shake some blood into their arms, drink some ale fortified with wine, high five their lads nearby, and then in 5 minutes sit down and get back to the arm wrestling. Blodwyn, what's going on with you?
I hate to go in for 2 courses of dessert, but I, since I am interested in establishing who is who in court, I would like to know more about the new lords.
The new lords.
People are talking about.
In the other corner of the room, you see that there are 4 young men who I can only describe are the British version of K-pop idols. They are gathered around. Their hair is slicked back and oiled perfectly. They are masculine and manly in every way, except the one who's the cute one, who is, just very beautiful instead of handsome. The shadows of the fire playing over their face makes their young stubble look rougher and coarser. So as you walk over, you are introduced to John of Marston, Jack of Porton, Rupert of Overwallop, and Quentin of Codford. The 4 of them are extremely pleased to make the acquaintance of the young knight, Sir Blodwyn, as John and Jack are both recently knighted. John, of course, is well known in Marston for being an excellent dancer, and Sir Jack is known not only for his archery and hunting, but also for his singing. Sir Rupert will be a knight by the end of year, and his family is well known for their flirting in Overwallop. Indeed, it is well known that the people of Overwallop are some of the most flirtatious and romantic of the Salisbury brethren. And then there's Quentin, who appears to be a knight, but he's only 18 years old. He is wearing some falconry gear, which is a little weird to be wearing that to a feast. And he sees you come over and he offers you a predator handshake and says, Dame Blodwyn, yes, you are friends with the originators of the Order of the Axe, are you not?
Yes, my father was one of them.
Yes, of course, one of the founders. I am Quentin of Codford, but please allow me to introduce my companions, Rupert of Overwallop, Jack of Porton, and John Marston. I'm very interested if you could introduce me to Sir Kendric. I have a proposal for him.
Yes, would you like to follow me now? I see him over there.
Of course. Gentlemen, if you'll excuse me. And then the 3 of them go, gentlemen, gentlemen, gentlemen.
It's like the doctor mode. Doctor.
Yes.
Doctor. I will lead him across the room.
Quentin approaches you, Kendric, and pulls out like a parchment, piece of parchment from a belt pouch and says, my lord, Sir Kendric, I presume?
And indeed.
I have no sword here to pledge to you, but I do have a proposal to offer.
Very well.
My father is unwell and has recently become unable to rise from his bed. He is infirm, and some would even call him incapable. I will be inheriting the family line, and I hope to be knighted before the end of the year. I am Quentin of the Manor of Codford. I have heard much about you from one of your vassals, Sir Paul. He is an old friend of my father, and in fact one of my neighbors as well. I understand that knights in your employ either grow old and fat and rich, or die young, covered in glory in the blood of their enemies. I must confess, as much as I am trying to rush to knighthood, I would not say that I am well prepared to defend the domains of Codford by myself. And though it may inexorably alter the destiny of my family, I would pledge vassalage unto you when I am knighted, so that you might protect us and I might serve you. I have analyzed all of the knights of the realm, and you are the one whom I would most enjoy serving. A knight of war, which Salisbury greatly lacks.
I would be honored to accept your vassalage should the Countess approve.
All right, so he hefts the scroll, so it flips twice in the air and then lands back in his hand, and proffers it towards you, and says, provisional oaths until they can be sworn on the morrow, I suppose, with the sword, as is proper.
Kendric will open it up, look it over, and hand it to someone who can read.
Blodwyn can read. I can read.
Ah, Blodwyn, excellent. What does this say?
It is just like, I, Quentin of Codford, offer my services, my homage, the many oaths of homage, etc., to Kendric.
I should point out, I have one read Latin, so it's very much like I, Quentin of Codford. Okay, so yeah, it's very much like when a child learns to read sight words.
Sure.
But it's more than Kendrick can do.
Yes. And I would also say, I would be honored if you would spend some time this winter with me at Pitton, so that we can get to know each other better, and I can take your measure, and I, of course, will come up
difficult
to see
to
Codford.
refuse such a request, my future lord, but I would point out that my father is quite ill, and someone must stand the manor. It is one of the northernmost manors of Salisbury, before the border was moved somewhat slightly farther north. If our enemies come from the west, they could easily come through the lands of Sir Paul and my own. If you think it wise, I will join you for some time, but I could not be away from my manor for more than just a few days. It is a matter of security. You understand, I'm sure, as a war guy yourself.
Indeed. Well, I'm sure that we can come to an agreement on how much time will be spent at which place. I would not want to take you away from your family's manor and leave it undefended.
I appreciate your forbearance, Sir Kendric, my lord. Now, I will excuse myself, as it seems that this is a gathering of the Knights of the Axe, as it were.
Very
Sir
well.
Kendric, Dame Blodwyn. And then
Sir
he
Quentin.
backs away and leaves.
Dame Blodwyn, I think if you would like to accompany me, let's go collect Sir Kyned, and we will go speak with the Countess.
Yes, of course.
And we will swing by wherever Kyned is at this moment. And
Kyned's drinking whiskey and eating haggis with a Scotsman. At this point, it's hard to say if the Scottish man is speaking English or whatever. Or sorry, not English. What are you guys speaking right now?
Brythonic.
Brythonic? Yes. It's hard to tell whether he's speaking Brythonic or whatever the Celts of the North speak. Gaelic, I guess.
Yeah, I guess technically we're speaking Kendric at this
he's
point.
He's so drunk.
Yeah,
Might
Kendric
not
just
be
like
the Ugadile that you're used to, but you seem to have gotten a taste for it, my friends.
Kyned, you see Kendric, Blodwyn come over.
Ah, and here's the rest of my Order of the Axe. May I introduce Sir Clembet?
Sir Clembet.
Clembet struggles to rise and then slumps back down in his seat and says, I clip all of you, can know you.
Very well. Sir Kyned, it's time for some business.
He raises the bottle of whiskey towards you as you leave, Kyned.
Until next time, Sir Clembet.
Got a cool back.
And Kendrick will just walk off towards the Countess, not knowing what that man just said to him.
Blessing the is of knowing.
One might say he was Jabba drunk.
Yeah.
You head to speak with the Countess.
Yep.
As you head over to meet with the Countess, she, of course, disentangles herself from whatever's happening. Knowledgeable that even if Guigan is not here, his first move would be to pull this group aside to a private meeting. So as you are moving to see her, she disentangles herself from her conversations and basically meets you halfway, intercepting you and leading you to a room. It seems that she knows Blodwyn, or at least knows the side of her, and says, Dame Blodwyn, it is good to see you here. I hope that your knighting has gone well.
Yes, so far, so good.
And did you complete the leap?
I didn't roll for it. What is it? It's a dexterity roll, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the surviving
right.
on a horse roll.
Let's see. I did complete the leap. Yes.
Flashback.
Yep. I get my extra 100 glory for that.
Yeah. Flashback to Blodwyn sprinting out of Wigan's Cathedral and leaping onto the back of a horse.
The horse riding off. 100% the opening sequence from Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Where you just start riding off on a horse versus a fucking raging ghost fire.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dame Blodwyn, I was not aware that you had pledged yourself to the Order of the Axe, so you're a member of their company?
I have not been invited yet. I've not been invited. But given that they are the brothers of my father, I thought it best to, I guess, learn from them until I find an order or similar to join.
The Countess turns to look at you, Kendric, because, of course, what you're about to talk about is high-level security information. And Dame Blodwyn is, of course, a 21-year-old who was just knighted. So this is like inviting the coffee guy in to talk to the president.
I'm one of the Doge interns.
Big Ball 69 here. She's looking to see what I mean, you're the one who invited Blodwyn here, so the Countess isn't saying anything, but she wants to see how you're handling this, Blodwyn's insertion into this, because you invited her, so
I did.
Your
Yes.
responsibility now.
I don't think Kendrick will say anything because like Blodwyn is the blood of his brother, and so her
So Big Ball
training.
69 it is.
Yeah, her training and like um, success as a knight reflects on um, him as well as anyone else, and he wants to see her do well.
Well, Dame Blodwyn, it would seem you're part of the literal handful of new knights, and I expect there will be many more knights like yourself over the next 6 to 7 years as those who were left fatherless grow up into their role. I hope that as you serve the Order of the Axe, you remember your responsibilities, your oaths, and your commitment to bringing the taxes centrally back to Salisbury's capital. With so many knights resuming their seat, perhaps we can begin to spread the wealth of Salisbury back around and get back to rebuilding the county rather than just surviving. Now, speaking of rebuilding the county, I intend to throw the military might of Salisbury behind the High King Nantiliode, who I support wholeheartedly. As soon as Prince Mark has left, it is my intention to announce this to the court here and to begin preparing for a march as soon as tomorrow morning. Sir Kendric, I have yet to name a marshal, and I'm hesitant to do so now as well. I'm bringing in a provisional commander by the name of Sir John of Marston. He is young, but it would appear that his father taught him much of the military arts before his passing at St. Albans.
Very well.
It is my hope that with this injection of fresh blood, our allies will be emboldened toward action. I am no military expert, but my reading of the reports from last year and from what my loyal knights tell me, the forward progress of the campaign and freeing the King of Somerset was not what one would hope for.
It was mostly a stalemate.
Yes.
We recovered some castles, but they still held others.
Yes, that is problematic. It is my hope that with our entry into the war, a quick and sudden violence, we might catch the Cornwallish by surprise.
Certainly providing King Nanteliod with a route to come in from the east of Somerset rather than the north will be advantageous.
Perhaps. He has been marching through our lands rather continuously, and it is no surprise to anyone that with someone as high profile as yourself serving at his side through several years, and your battlefield performance, that we will eventually go against Cornwall. I suspect that they might be prepared for this.
So are you mobilizing the Salisbury's army?
Yes.
Very well.
I intend to use my 40 days of service as early as possible at Nantiliode's request.
And Sir Marston will be in overall command?
You will be in provisional command of a central corps of knights.
Okay.
You will command the Order of the Axe and its independent corps of knights and men-at-arms. And I hope that you will liaison directly with King Nantiliode. You are well known to him. I believe that your son is squiring with his son?
Yes, this will be Tathan's last year with Sir Elaine. He'll be knighted.
Yes, Tathan. Yes.
Yes.
We were just speaking
as I'm
about
sure,
him earlier.
Yes, my lady is quite familiar.
What a good lad.
Indeed.
One would hope that he finds a wife soon.
Yes, one would
a
one
worthy
would hope.
wife of
Equal
his
to
level
his-
of glory and restraint and respect.
I agree. Would you like me to keep an eye on our new marshal and see if there's any I hesitate to say teaching moments, but any
No,
nudging
my
that could be
Shield of the
done?
West will keep track of our new provisional marshal.
Very
I
well.
would prefer that you keep track of our ally, King Nanteliode, and make sure that this isn't all some play to seize Salisbury for himself. I don't
course.
expect a man as honorable and chivalrous as him, but certainly men more honorable and chivalrous have committed more treacherous acts.
Of course. I shall ride at his side.
So, Kyned, is there anything we need to share with each other?
Only this, milady. If Nanteliode comes out on top, then we need to worry about Lot and the Picts. They're content to sit back as long as we squabble amongst ourselves and amongst the Saxons, but if there is a clear winner, and it's not Lot's kin, then the Picts may fall upon them.
Well, I have to say, it's one thing for King Nanteliode to unite 2/3 of Logres and defeat Cornwall. It's quite another to kick the Saxons out of southeast Logres. They are well entrenched, and even now they are so haughty about their numbers that the Angles are committing mercenaries to Cymric campaigns.
I can only tell you what my ears tell me, milady. It is, of course, up to you to decide what to do with that.
Well, the Duke of Lindsey is marching with Angles at his back, so if there is anyone who should be worried about the Duke of Lindsey, it is either Nanteliode or the Picts. If you're bringing this information to me, you must suspect a Pictish plot on behalf of King Lot.
I have heard rumblings from multiple sources. I do not believe it would happen this year, but it is something that we should keep a weather eye on if Nanteliode does take over Cornwall.
Rumblings from beyond the wall.
Indeed.
Season 4 of Attack on Titan intensifies. Rumbley, rumbley. Only Attack on Titan heads get that one, but it's very funny. Okay. The Countess turns to you, Dame Blodwyn, and says, "And what news or counsel do you bring me?"
Only that a progress knight, and I look to Kendric for the name of the knight that's been causing issues.
Sir Arnold.
Sir Arnold has, in the northwest of the region, I know what he does is within the law, but he is turning the small folk, and I worry that maybe such if his activities are excused, then others may be emboldened to also bully the small folk. That won't do us well if our borders are harassed by invaders. We don't want a situation where our followers believe that our invaders might be better lords than we.
See. You were trained by Sir Leo. You would say that he is a just and loyal man?
Yes, I trust him greatly.
And yourself, would you say that he taught you to be a just knight?
I would say that I am of slightly more than average justice. So,
what a strange turn of phrase,
yeah,
Dame Blodwyn.
yes. Certainly, I'm not my father's cousin. I'm not. He was famous for his justice. I simply hope to do what's right.
Good. I will leave you in charge of this situation. I give you the authority to act on my behalf.
I immediately pale.
Confront Sir Arnold and do what you believe to be right in this situation with the full authority of me behind you.
Okay. Yes, my lady.
The Countess is looking over everybody, but as she does, you can see that her eyes glaze over a 1,000-yard stare, looking at someone who isn't in the room and maybe never will be again, as she turns to look out the western window.
I think that I feel that almost now that Kunaware has appeared on camera, that like Guigan never can again.
Yes, that was my intention. Yes, in a Fey bargain, one of them can only be on screen at once.
There is one more matter, Countess.
She shakes out of her reverie and turns back to look at you wistfully. Yes, Sir Kendric?
Quentin of Codsford has expressed a desire to swear vassalage to myself. I provisionally accepted when he provided you approve, and of course when he would come of age and take command of his household.
His father is unwell based on letters I was exchanging with him. He is a bit young to be made a knight. Might you judge his capabilities this year and report back to me before any formal swearing of vassalage or acceptance of oaths of knighthood is sworn?
I will do so.
I suppose I should dispatch these 4 new knights? Well, John and Jack and also Rupert and Quentin, who are squires still, with you. Watch over them well.
I will do so.
Take a care to keep them away from Dame Blodwyn. Not that I don't think you can handle yourself, Dame Blodwyn, but these 4 have a reputation.
Mm-hmm. Very well.
She turns towards the western window as the sun is setting. She sighs romantically. I suppose we must return to the feast. We're about to serve the roasted flamingo. Duke Ulfius has sent us another gift.
Very generous of him.
Well, when you don't have to pay for the upkeep of Londonium, it turns out that your funds go much further.
Right, why save for a rainy day? We've got all this money, let's just spend it.
I see you've met anyone in history ever.
So,
well, look, here's the thing, James.
What is Salisbury's deficit?
Let's be very clear here. Flamingos are extremely non-fungible, right? And they have a rate of decay. At some point, they'll die and go bad. You do need to eat them at some point. They are each one of them truly a unique entity. All right, you guys head back to the feast.
I only saw flamingos for the first time in person a couple of years ago in Las Vegas.
Oh, interesting. You know, America has a lot going on right now, but one thing that we do really well is zoos. We have animals from all over the fucking planet in all of our zoos. Like, you go to any major city and there's a zoo somewhere in the suburbs. It's pretty sick.
No, I've never been to a zoo in Australia or else in the world that have flamingos, but I've been to the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas, and they have flamingos in the hotel.
Okay. The other thing America does well is complete and utterly ridiculous excess. That's not the only other thing we do well, but we're certainly well known for it. Fucking flamingos in a hotel. All I can think of now is playing Planet Zoo in the worst way possible. Just fucking flamingos walking around shitting everywhere. You guys head back to the feast. What do you want to do?
We
At
exhausted the
this
menu.
point,
Check.
let's say this: Prince Mark departs, and at that point, Prince Elaine de Carlion and the Countess joint announce a provisional military. No, we keep using the word provisional. Announce a military operation, and that tomorrow morning, all of the knights should be returning home and gathering their military forces. Kyned, I'm going to ask you to make an intrigue roll at -10.
I will note we have exhausted the menu except for the gossip box text.
That's true, the gossip box text. No one cares about that shit anyway.
That's a success.
That is a success. So there is a notable absence here. And you're noticing that there are a series of chairs in the hall for various officers. And you're noticing that the one for the marshal has laid unused for quite a while. Right? There hasn't been a marshal since Baron Huel got hit in the face with a branch and died.
Mm-hmm.
You are noticing, based on some recent scrapes around the base of the chair, that someone recently pulled the chair out. So a new marshal must have been named and have used that chair, but Sir John of Marston is only a provisional marshal who's just been named. There might be a real marshal who has been named, and the Countess is keeping it from everyone, and you're starting to piece together plots as you're looking around the room, and you're thinking to yourself, where is Sir Leo? It makes sense for him to be gone for a decade, training Blodwyn, but where is he now? He's repeatedly refused to become the sheriff. But you're like, hold on a second. Everyone is going to know that we are going to march an army underneath a green commander, independent of King Nanteliod West. What if that army isn't as green as you think? What if Sir Leo is waiting in the wings to rush in and take command for real? There's a whole level of plots here with the Countess that she hasn't even shared with you. It's all conjecture, but it's checking out for you. You're glancing around the room, looking at some of your servant spies, and they're like nodding at you, and some of them pass you messages, and over the course of the next few minutes, you get enough confirmation, nothing you could take to court, nothing concrete, but you're pretty sure that that's exactly what's going on. The Countess is hoping that news of John of Marston's greenness gets out, and Salisbury is intentionally used as an anvil for Nanteliod's hammer. Except that the anvil isn't quite as new and soft as Cornwall is hoping. Somewhere out there, the Game of Thrones theme song is playing.
I think that Kyned will see if he can get a private audience with the Countess.
Okay. You get another private audience with the Countess. It has been a short while because, of course, she has to talk to everybody about their offers of vassalage and how everyone's complaining about getting ready for an immediate military campaign or congratulating her for this brilliant stroke and the masterful timing and all of that. But you find a somewhat tired-looking Countess in the same private room as before, seated, saying, "You needed to speak with me, Sir Kyned."
I displeased you, milady.
No, not at all.
I ask because I would have assumed that I would have been notified about your plan with Sir Leo.
Do you know about that? Sir Kyned, here is something that I learned from my husband, who was a very excellent man and a very excellent knight. and not always the greatest player of politics. Don't put all of your eggs in any one basket. You are my spy master, but you are hardly the only person who works for me that engages in intrigue. In fact, it would be seen as womanly of you to engage in literal spying, espionage. That is a woman's craft. Sometimes secrets must be kept even from those closest to us. You have not displeased me. Your service has been excellent, and you have helped us head off several plots that would have been a very serious problem for Salisbury, including, I might add, a certain messenger who we needed to make sure would never return home.
I understand, milady. I just wanted to make sure that it was not some problem with my performance. I
Not at all.
totally understand the need to compartmentalize, as it were.
Right. You are new to the study of the Christian works, are you not?
I am.
Has anyone read you the story of Noah's Ark?
Yes.
It would have been a shame if the Ark had failed at some point in its journey, would it not? To have placed all your animals in one basket, as it were. Now, of course, God guided Noah and the animals, but let us say that there was some disastrous accident. All things of the earth would have been gone forever. It is not a good idea, unless you are the Lord God, to place all of your animals in one basket, Sir Kyned, nor all of your eggs in one basket.
You are quite wise, milady.
Can I ask what business you had in Ireland? I have received some strange reports. You stopped to take a glass of wine right then?
No, that was Glimo, not
Sure.
Kyned.
But it would have been amazing in character to just be like, oh yes, that business in Ireland where I fucking threatened a man. A bishop, nonetheless.
Someone was using my name and my position for their own enrichments, and I needed to put a stop to it before it caused any problems, both for me personally and within your court.
Very well.
Thank you, milady. I shall leave you to the rest of your evening.
I hope that your service on the battlefield finds you safe and hearty, Sir Kyned.
I'm sure that my cousin will look after Sarum.
How would you rate our chances in the upcoming conflict?
I'm not the tactician that Kendric is,
yes,
but I believe that your ruse will work, and given everything that I know about Leo's prowess, I think that could very well tip the stakes.
Very well. You're dismissed, Sir Kyned.
Thank you, milady.
Anyone else got anything to do at this feast, which has turned into a war council that everyone is hyping up?
No, I think that I will. I'm probably going to go around and ask what people know about this knight that's been causing problems. It's just like I know that he exists, and so I'm sort of asking around to get any sort of like, does anyone know
Sir
what his
Arnold?
motivation is? Yes.
Yes. Now, it doesn't sound like you're making an intrigue check, to be sure.
No,
I
just
think perhaps courtesy?
yeah, I'm going to do courtesy.
Sure.
No.
And
Okay.
Glimo, go ahead and check intrigue. You've used it so many times today.
Thank you.
Oh, it's crit.
Oh, nice.
Okay, well, go ahead and check courtesy.
Yep.
You are looking for the scoop on Sir Arnold, and I want you to imagine a 1990s era Disney musical cartoon where you appear and you're just asking someone for information and you suddenly get pulled into a musical number by a bunch of French peasants who give you a complete 411 on Sir Arnold in the form of a song. Yeah, so you begin getting not just rumors but true information about him. He is one of the oldest surviving knights. His seniority has not afforded him a lot of glory, right? Other knights go out into the field and do things and become richer and more wealthy. That has not been the case for Sir Arnold. He's kind of just been in the castle, getting older and fatter and more senior, more veteran, more wise, perhaps more consulted, but he's at the age where he's starting to lose his edge. And younger knights who are starting to be knighted around him have been asking questions about why a man who can barely sit his horse anymore is the new commander of the Progress Knight Corps. And his response has been somewhat, he can't just go around beating other knights, but he does go around to various small villages and towns and hamlets and thorps and basically just bait people into saying shit about him. I mean, insulting a knight is a crime, to be very clear. And it's not illegal for him to kill them. But what you're getting, the picture that's being painted for you is a guy who basically goes in undercover. There's no hiding that he's a nobleman, right? Or that he's wealthy and rich and well-fed nutritiously and like someone takes care of his hair and his clothes. But he's not riding in on a horse in armor. He's basically walking into meeting halls and public halls and taverns and inns and things like that and waiting for someone to start talking shit about knights and then somehow getting them to say something about other knights or maybe himself, or just getting into a situation where he might have legal cause, not moral cause, but legal cause to defend his reputation violently.
Does he have sons?
Does Sir Arnold have sons? No, he has 3 daughters.
Okay, nice. Right, that's what I need to know. Thank you. So I should are his daughters married or not?
I think they're too young to be married as of
Okay.
yet. They're,
Yeah.
They're like 11, 9, and 6.
Okay.
James is cooking up a plan. What is it? What could it be? What's his plan? What's his plan? Chandrian. There's only one thing the bards can agree on. There are 7 of them.
Or maybe 9.
Oh my god. What are you doing, Glimo? This is why you can't finish a damn book. I heard there was a new Chandrian, and it was Kavoth Kingkiller. Well, anything else you'd like to do, James, in your evil plotting?
No.
I'm just
Not
worried
right
that you're gonna embrace him like a true Christian.
I think Kendric will go find. I mean, this doesn't necessarily have to be at the feast, but maybe it's like the next day. Kendric will go find Dame Blodwyn. Like, so how did you find your first feast as a knight?
It was, I guess, I'd say not what I expected, but I don't know what I expected. I guess it takes some getting used to. I don't really know a lot of people, and a lot of people know each other, so it takes time, I guess, to find my place. I'm just trying to work out how to solve this Sir Arnold issue for
Mhm.
the Countess.
Yeah, that's actually what I came to speak about. I was wondering if you had any ideas.
Um, well, I think that an an appropriate appeal might be the way to proceed. He creates these issues not for gold or for it's almost like he wants he's on a challenge so he can defend it. He
Hmm.
he either needs he either needs a battle or he needs to be reminded why we do what we do. Um, I mean, the my cousin has left me with significant wealth. I mean, if it was simply a case of buying him off, that wouldn't be a problem. But I would rather, as a knight, talk to him night to night and try to find some common ground and show him a different path. I have no illusions. He's an older man, but he would still certainly wipe the floor with me in battle. I'm not looking to draw swords. I'm looking to appeal to his better nature.
Yes, of course. I can tell Sir Leo has had great influence on you. Well, I hope that you succeed in your attempt to divert him onto a better path. But should things come to swords, and if you would not fight him yourself, you could always name me as your champion.
Thank you, Sir Kendric. I feel that the Countess has given me this. If it did come to swords, then I feel that it would be my duty to honor that. But I do thank you for your kindness.
Very well. Good luck with your task.
Thank you. Hopefully, I will see you again after it's over.
Indeed. And then he will give her a pat on the shoulder and head on out.
Very well. As he heads on out, the intermission screen descends from above him and crushes Sir Kendrick, killing him. But don't worry, like that one episode of The Next Generation where the Enterprise explodes at every commercial break, time will reset and he'll be perfectly fine. And we will return in 5 minutes for the third of this particular episode. Proclaiming himself king, it should be said. So Corneus takes London and becomes a very important person. More importantly, absolutely destroys any claims Ulfius or Nantiliode have to holding London.
Although, didn't a few years ago, didn't Corneus become a vassal of the Nanteliod? Didn't they fight?
I think they fought, but I don't think that he became a vassal. I think they've still been fighting all this time. That was my recollection. If not, he's still camping on the High King's castle. Now, speaking of Nantiliode, there has been a huge to-do and talk about how Nantiliode will swing through Somerset and how the duplicitous Salisbury will march from the west. And this new Green Lord, all of it is a sort of rouge, a deception, a masquerovka, if you will. As I said rouge, but I meant ruse. Nantiliode secretly marches into Sarum and then moves west into Selwood and the Wells to meet the armies of King Somerset, who have spent the winter preparing in the marsh. And they begin reclaiming the castles and cities of Somerset immediately. All of you are attached to Nantiliode's army. You think you're supposed to ride out and meet him halfway, but in fact, he just rides to you in Sarum and takes you west through your own lands. You briefly get to stop and see an off-camera Guigan, I guess.
Mm-hmm. The Shield of the West.
The Shield of the West. As you pass through those lands, King Idris refuses to be drawn into battle, and so it is just a long summer of sieging castle and city one after another. I would like each of you to check sword, and I would also like all of you to test for whatever the patience. I don't remember if that's actually a thing or if there's one that's pretty close.
There's temperate versus indulgent.
I don't think
there
that's
is
it.
Prudent versus reckless.
Yes, prudent. Let's have everyone test prudence.
I
I fumbled.
Yes.
I fail my prudent test.
I need you to make a reckless test, both of you, and James, you get that reverse
failed.
check mark.
Let's see here.
So you do get to
Restless.
decide how you would like to act.
I fumbled my reckless.
Oh boy. Well, go ahead and give yourself a check in prudent, I believe.
Mhm.
And lower each of you will lower the relevant score and raise the other one.
So becoming more prudent is what
Yes.
you're saying. Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So, Sir Kyned, it's a long, boring summer of spending 30, 40, 50 days outside of a castle, waiting for the Lord inside to dip the banner and come out, and then you move on to the next one, and basically nothing is happening. You have an extremely extended 40 days of service that basically turns into half a year of service. It's kind of boring. Your companions are fucking losing their minds. Blodwyn is so nervous about everything that's going on with Sir Arnault, and, you know, there could be a battle or a war at any second. Just kind of nerves on edge of a new night. And then...
So, can I
oh,
throw
please,
in
please.
addition
You
about
can
that,
rewrite the
my
story.
Yeah, well, all I was going to say was the fact that so one of the skills that women are allowed to actually take relatively high is siege. So I actually have a siege of 10, which I know is not huge, but it's more than most other people have. So I think that in an attempt to try and prove herself, her recklessness comes across as like trying to constantly, you know, throw out suggestions about how we could improve this siege, you know, how we can get them to open their gates, how we can get them to, you know, whatever the case may be.
I would love for you to make a siege test real quick.
Okay, no worries.
I'd love for you to fumble that as well.
Fumble too.
My lords, if we built a giant wooden badger.
Dame Blodwyn knows what she's talking about, but the thing is, you present it at a war council with Nantiliod, Sir Leo, who is the true marshal, his apprentice and learning intern, his big balls 69, John of Marston, Spoon is there as well. Like, all of these famous knights from all over Logres and Wales are all there. You are presenting this plan that's kind of boring, and Sir John of Marston is like listening to you talk, and then he says something quietly to someone near him that sounds extremely rude about you being a woman, and people start laughing, and, you know, someone's like, what are they laughing about? What's the joke? And it just keeps spreading. And even though your ideas are wise, you are basically locked out of the war council because Sir John of Marston has dishonored you and mocked you in war council.
Yeah.
This does immediately cause some problems with his mentor, Sir Leo. On the other hand, doing something really cool in front of King Nantiliode's knights has raised up his stars slightly with Nantiliode's knights, not with King Nantiliode, but, you know, with all the John Marstons of the other side. Spoon, you just really want to kill people and go to war. I mean, that's kind of your thing,
he's
and it's a
like,
rough summer of not doing that.
yeah, of like, I think at like every third like council, um, like Kendrick's like, we could just storm the walls. I mean, we could build some
The
ladders.
King of Somerset appears out of the shadows and goes, "No, no, no, please. These are my people. They can be convinced diplomatically to reswear their oaths. There is no
Okay.
need for violence and bloodshed in these sacred and hollow lands. Do you
Of
not
course.
follow the what do the Christians call it? The pagan ways? Do you not follow the ancient codicils of the druids of this land? You must know that we cannot offer violence to our brothers. Peace.
Of course.
Be at peace." And this conversation is repeated every 6 or 7 days.
Yeah.
The next crazy thing that you guys hear is that while you're off in Somerset, Saxons from Wessex raid Salisbury and just begin making off with all of your shit.
Those motherfuckers.
They don't besiege anything, but they steal your horses and your cows and your harvests, and they knock on your walls and set fire to whatever they think is appropriate. You know, not whole towns or anything, but maybe a nice granary or two.
I mean, well,
Yes.
I'm sure they steal some outlying things, but I was gonna say I have a castle on Pitton. And
You
I
have a castle up north along
No,
the
I have-
Avon River, right?
I mean, I have the paper castle,
Yes.
and then but I also have walls, a moat, and a tower at Pitton.
You have other manors.
I assume when we
That's
do the Winterfell stuff, we would do we do what was raided. You'd be
Yeah, it's
raided with the
raided.
conflict, and then you can apply your DV against the effects of the raid.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this. I know winter phase from the old way of doing it, so I'm going to rely on you guys to run that.
Yeah. So you know how there's like we test for calamity or benefit.
Yes.
After that, you would normally test for conflict,
Yes.
but the conflict is being defined by the Pendragon campaign.
Yeah.
So if you say we're raided, we apply the raided conflict, which can do damage. But any damage that's done, you can reduce by the DV of your defensive facilities.
Excellent. Sounds good. And you hear that the Centurion King, King Malahut, has been surprised by a secret attack of Picts and Kimries being led by King Lot surging over the wall and attacking Cumbria. With that said, both sides form large armies and then circle around each other for a few months and nothing happens.
Could I make a appeal?
Yes?
Yes. Check to siege for all of the besieging we're doing.
Yes. I think that all three of you can check besiege. Even Blodwyn, who knew what she was talking about. It's just that she was dismissed. And then it's Christmas Court. The tagline of which is, if Saxons will raid, we have to be cautious about helping Nantilio next year. Are his own men still willing to follow him? How is he paying these people anyway? Now, I didn't think to make an end-of-year menu, but
hang
just...
on.
Oh,
We need to back up.
yes?
Sir Kyned wanted to meet with Sir Kendric before we went.
I was just going to tell Kendric that Leo was coming.
that
Don't
Leo was
be
going to be the
surprised.
marshal.
So,
Okay, gotcha. He wasn't surprised.
Okay.
Sorry.
You
Didn't
weren't
mean to derail.
surprised when... You were very surprised when your good friend King Nantilio showed up. You
Yes,
were
I was
somewhat
very
less
surprised
surprised when Sir Leo was with him,
at that. Yeah. Okay.
acting as his military liaison.
So was that basically her telling Kendric to be like, hey, I need you to keep an eye on King Nantelia. That was her 3-card Montying me. Okay.
She was Montying everybody.
Yeah. All right. I think Kendrick has something to talk to Sir Kyned about at the Winter Feast.
Okay.
Dame Titania is still not here, correct?
Neither hide nor hair has been found of her.
Okay. Sir Kyned, I have a boon to ask of you.
Of course, Kendric.
Dame Titania and 2 of her 2 remaining vassal knights have been missing since last year. I was wondering if, as a favor to me, you might look into it.
I will see what I can unearth. It might also behoove you to send a letter to Sir Guigan, since his new retirement home is near her lands.
Sorry, did you say retirement home? Fucking brutal. He's still an active knight.
I'll ride out and visit him this winter. It's been since he was absent at court this year. It's been some time since we've seen each other. The last I knew, she had taken a raid into Jagend and had not returned.
I will make inquiries. Would this be an intrigue roll, Arthur, or?
Nah, she's dead, man. They're all
Okay.
dead. It doesn't require much checking around. It's just that no one in the Cornwallish army cared to like send a letter to inform people that they were dead, right? I mean, they intend to take these lands by force very shortly.
Mm-hmm.
And also they had no idea who these people were, right? Titania, the story you get is that Titania and her 2 knights, and their like armsmen and such, like did a night raid on a fully prepared, ready group. Like they had just come back from a hunt and like everybody was still strapped with bows and arrows, arming swords and stuff like that. And like Titania and her knights thought they were going to get an easy raid on a camp, and just ended up getting absolutely fucking slaughtered in the middle of the night. And no one was like, we should return their arms and armor. They were just like, wow, some dead knights. Let's take their money and their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Titania's super dead.
So I know her like household knights didn't hold any lands, but what is happening with her men? Does she
It
have?
reverts back to the Countess.
Okay. Okay. Unfortunate.
What would you guys like to do at the Christmas feast?
I think Kendrick will raise several toasts to King Nanteliad and Duke Corneus as the liberators of Kimrick lands.
Make a toasting roll. Roll a d20, I think.
Or indulgent.
15. Which that would be a critical on my courtesy.
All right, you know what? Check courtesy.
Okay.
You are certainly not the only person. Now, they're not present in the room, of course, but plenty of people are offering, like, to Nanteliod.
Yeah.
Yours is so flowery, so smooth, so obviously written by your wife for you that everyone is deeply impressed. Listen, I've met your wife. I think she could probably write you a good toast for other people, for sure.
Yeah. For sure.
Of course, it's probably going to include a bunch of Zoomer memes that I'm not going to fucking understand.
Yeah.
I feel like our high energies become low energy. I don't know what drained us today.
Well, I mean, I like the Christmas courts are always kind of like, at least out of the book, like none of the Christmas courts are particularly interesting.
That's true.
After like, I think there's like one in the Uther era, like it's the one where he gets the sword and like you give a bunch of gifts and he draws the sword and there's a bunch of speed. But then after that, it's like, yeah, Christmas court's here.
Yeah, but that's the one that's right out of the movie Excalibur.
Yeah. Yes.
I will admit that two fumbles in a row didn't properly help my energy.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty rough.
All right. Well, I had my menu and I'm going to bring it back next year.
All right. I liked it.
I liked it, even if you guys weren't excited about it.
I just said I liked it.
Yes, but I was talking at the same time you were, so
okay.
you know,
I want to challenge you, AP, to do it a different menu style each time. Like, right, so there you've done like the classy sort of like, you know, French restaurant. Now I want to see like the, you know, the greasy burger joint menu.
Now he's like, I'm not going to do it anymore.
This is like when I asked people in the community to help me write a BattleTech FFG dice game, and there were like 3 major factions forming of rules where people were like, this is how we should do it, and I'm like, you know what, no one can agree on anything. I'm done. I'm not gonna organize this. I'm not gonna negotiate with people and sort this out. I'm just not gonna do it. I'll think about it, James. I'll think about finding the various templates. You don't like my French menu?
No, I did like it. I
got it right off of a Google Docs template area, but yeah, all right. We'll do some greasy burger places. I'll head on down to the 301 Diner, and I'll get a picture of their menu and their special board, and then I'll recreate it for you.
In the next Patreon meeting, AP's like, I'm spending this month's funds on a Canva membership.
Let's see. Do we want to try and speed run some spreadsheets?
I don't know about speed running end of year in 35 minutes. That seems.
I think we could do it.
I mean, I'll do a hard time because I also want to go through the relatively long-winded process that that finding a husband is. It's more than one role.
Right.
Yeah. I think maybe we do solo scenarios and call it.
Okay.
Kyned, I expect that for you, you'd like to enter into another intrigue.
That does seem on brand for me.
Might I ask you to make an intrigue vis-a-vis Wessexian plots?
That's a success.
So, as the late days...
can I add? No, never mind.
As the
I've
late...
already rolled.
What did you want to add? Now I'm curious.
I was going to see if I could impassion with hate Saxons, but I've already rolled. So.
Yeah, you already rolled. As the late days of fall pass, you begin getting information that while they were raiding, the Saxons tried to spend a little bit of people's own coin back in their communities to hire spies, essentially. You know, like steal the local tax dollars and then offer, 10% of it back to a particularly sleazy individual in the local area to act as their spy. As your network is spreading out and looking for these individuals, most of them were just killed by their neighbors. They were not subtle about spending their own coin back in the town. But you do start picking up some of the people around like Sarem and Duplains that were not quite so open about it, but were not able to evade everyone's eyes as gossip and rumors. Now, some of these people that are being accused, your people find are innocent, but others are indeed newly hired spies of the kings of Port and Wessex. What would you like to do with these seated individuals? There are a dozen of them throughout Salisbury, which has been, if I say thoroughly raided, I don't mean everything's been set on fire, but I mean when the raiders came, they went everywhere. They didn't go deep in like wait days and burn everything out, but they made sure to just go wherever there was a fresh harvest or some herds and just steal whatever they can make away. What
They're
would you like to
traders
do with these dirty dozen?
Yeah, they're traders to the Countess, so I administer high justice.
My lord, is that legal? I mean, high justice is the justice only of the king, but
Okay, I mean, there.
if you wish to bury them, you can do so.
I put them to death.
Yes. So as one of the men is being dragged away before you, he goes, "If you can't protect us, who can? All we were doing is protecting ourselves. If the lords can't..." And then his head gets chopped off and it bounces around on the ground. His body, Miyazaki's blood everywhere as falls to his knees.
Mm-hmm.
The last populist socialist cries from him going out. Cool, Kendric. I'm just gonna ask you to roll spiritual again before I describe the scenario, and this feels fair.
I got it.
Whoa!
Wow, did he roll a 1? Incredible.
I did. I got it.
So you are in your own lands, behind your castle walls, inspecting, the damage from the raiding and, torches thrown over the walls sort of deal. And just, Duplains didn't make out well, right? Like, they're set to stop raids from the east with their river castle deal and their narrow bridges. Raids coming from the west are completely unexpected. It would be like if all storms were enormous but only came from the east, and then one new big storm came from the west. It would be devastating to the local economy. It was not good for them. As you're inspecting the damage in the lands, you find yourself, with your close men-at-arms and family knights in a field, just camping out too far from Pitton to make it back that night, when a man approaches out of the darkness wearing sort of druidic garb and just kind of walks into the middle of the campfire ring and sits down next to you. All of your men are like looking nervous, and some of them are reaching for weapons.
Kendric will hold up a hand to stop them and say, "Welcome, stranger."
You are Sir Kendric, are you not?
I am.
I have heard from the Archdruid that you are on a journey.
I am indeed on a quest.
He has told me that it has taken you far, even to the Latin lands of Egypt.
My quest has?
Yes, a quest in your mind.
Ah. Yes, I suppose I've had some strange dreams and visions.
You seek the ancient knightly code of the elves. Tell me, which precepts do you know?
I know a knight is valorous. A knight defends the weak, even those he does not ask for. And a knight speaks only truth.
I offer you this, Sir Kendric, knowledge from mine own heart. The strength of a true knight is there not for himself, but for the good of others and all, to uphold the weak. Might for right, Sir Kendric. Do you understand?
I do.
Perhaps not. But one day you may. Want some dank herb?
Yes, of
He
course.
hands you a sour-smelling satchel of, like a little potpourri of herbs. He throws them into the fire, and immediately everybody's like, "Whoa, the smell!" Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Sir Kendric. It helps balance the humors.
Thank you, Druid.
You turn to say that to him. He's gone. There's only robes sitting on the log.
Okay.
He Obi-Wan'd away.
Yeah, he was Jedi.
You mean a Cheddar monk?
A Jedi monk. So I have 4 out of 7 now.
Cool. Dame Blodwyn,
Yes.
your solo scenario. If you don't have something to proactively do with Arnold, word that you have been greenlit permission to do something about him will get back to him, and he's going to find a solution to the Blodwyn problem himself.
Well, I am gonna try and seek him out in person.
Very well. Then your solo scenario is the encounter with Sir Arnold.
Yeah. And I ideally I'd like to do it somewhere that we can have privacy. So not like, you know, peel him up in the middle of a temple or whatever. You know,
I think you get him in his office as Chief Progress Knight, you know.
Okay.
Basically like Sergeant Major.
Yeah.
He has his own very, very small office somewhere in Sarum Castle at Vagon, I guess. And he is looking, you know, about a decade older and not wearing it well. He's sort of jowly. His hair has gone fully gray and patchy. His skin has gone to like the sun cancer, you know, from lots of sun exposure from writing so often. Hunched over, and he just goes, so this is the young Dame Blodwyn. They'll just let anyone carry a sword now. I understand you've been hoping to speak with me.
I did, sir, yes. May I have some of your time?
It would appear you're going to steal some of my time one way or the other. Might as well get this over with now.
Oh, I don't come here to create offence. I was hoping simply just to have a conversation. If it's not a good time, I can return later.
Oh, no. I've heard how members of your family and their vassal knights handle conversations with people. Should I be expecting a Christian embrace?
I'm not sure what you mean. I'm sorry.
And when he says, he's like, oh, maybe she doesn't, maybe she's not as vicious as her, you know, uncle guy.
I only came because this is my first year in court, and so I was trying to understand a bit about what things are discussed and managed in the candidates' court. And your name came up, and unfortunately, in a way that I don't think is befitting of your importance to both Salisbury and I guess chivalry in general. I think that
are you saying someone's been impugning on my honor?
I would say that your honor has been harmed, but I think that unfortunately, when it comes to identifying the culprit, it's something you may need to look in a mirror for. While everything you've done has been just, the stories appear that you have driven conflicts beyond where they should be. And I think that you're a better man than that. I think that any knight of your stature and experience dishonors himself if he comports himself in such a way that he would drive conflict with those who cannot possibly win against him. I think that you are deserving of more duty, more honor, and I would like to see that delivered. But I fear that when people tell stories that are true stories, they only seem to harm your case.
You tell me what kind of role this is, James. Because this conversation has taken several left turns.
Yeah, I mean, I guess probably courtesy would be the closest I could go for. Yeah,
Okay,
I
all
guess
right,
that's what I'm
I'll
doing for.
buy that.
Okay. Um,
In my estimation, what you're doing is you started by being polite, then you negged him, then you moved into help me help you. Would you
Yeah.
say that's correct?
yeah, I think so. You know,
Okay, then let's make the
yeah.
courtesy roll.
Yeah, it's a what do you call it? A management
Compliment
sandwich.
sandwich.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, okay. May I impassion against honor because I'm
Yeah, of course.
appealing with honor. Okay, let's see how I go here. And of course I fail. All right, no worries.
That's not so good, right?
Yeah, 2 20s and a 19. Well, at least it's
Well, you're famous for it.
Famous for it. Yeah, fuck's sake. I think I'm making a new character next session.
Blodwyn died. Fortunately,
Yeah.
she had a secret sister, Maudwyn, who was being trained in all the same arts, just in case she died.
I've lost 32 glory this session alone just from having stats drop from famous levels down to unfamous levels.
Yeah. Well, because prudent was your famous one of your famous traits, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was the one I chose to put 16 into when I had a chance. We have a chance to make one thing 16. All right, so that's a pass on courtesy at least.
Okay. Fine. You think that some new knight lady, some dame like yourself, can act as my advocate at court. I have heard that you've been meeting privately with the Countess. If you can push my cause to see my star risen, I suppose I can find more to occupy my time with than dealing with these rebellious peasants in the field who have forgotten how to act around their lords and masters. I accept your offer to help me, Dame Blodwyn. I expect to see results soon.
Then results soon you'll see.
Very well. Everyone can take 25 glory for being involved in the siege of Somerset, and then all of you can take 5 glory for your successes in your solo scenarios. Now, Spoon, do you think we can cram in an 18-minute winter phase, or maybe we leave that off until next time?
I think we could do it, but we should
You
probably
think
leave
we
it off
could
till
do
next
it?
time.
I don't know about
I think
that.
so. Well, so the thing is that Blodwyn has to do
James got to
the
get married. Don't you
stuff.
understand?
Yeah, so that's the one part where I'm like, we might not make it. So
I do want to add that Sir John, our newly knighted provisional marshal, did have a sort of dancing area every night. As you may have recalled, he is one of the knights that is famous for his dancing. And as a result, many of the new knights that have joined him have decided to call areas of dance Mars pits.
Mars pits, nice.
Fantastic. Any post-episode discussion we want to do before calling it a night or a day, a time zone?
I mean, I just want to say before we finish off, but it's not episode related. So if there's episode related stuff to discuss first, I'll say.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say that if you are watching this show live,
yes,
then
I forgot about that.
In 15 minutes on the Omar Krieg channel, so just go up to the top bar there and where it says twitch.tv change APGamingREAL to Omar Krieg. I will be starting a Vampire the Dark Ages campaign with Omar and Kyned, both from the Imperial Edition show, which would normally be on tomorrow, but it's not because I have a performance review at work. I have my probationary review, I should say, sorry.
Performance interrogation?
Yeah, that's it. And then also to other people who are not from AP's channel, one of which I've never played with before. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, if you want to watch that, it'll also be on YouTube later, I'm sure, with Omar later.
And that's Omar Krieg of the Krieg Dominion. If people wanted to Google it, correct?
Yeah. I didn't check Google. That come up with anything on Google? I don't think so.
Yes.
Does it?
It does.
There you go. You know more than I do.
That's his search term if you want to find him on the Googles.
Comes up probably as Commander Omar Krieg at Elite Dangerous is the first hit, and then the Death Core of Krieg on Lexicon is the second hit.
Nope. This is what it looks like. I mean, Commander Omar Krieg is Omar.
I think I misspelled Omar, so I had to put Omer.
I'll send you what comes up for me. His channel shows up second.
Oh, it does too. Yep, there we go. I spelled Omar correctly.
Mm-hmm.
By
and
the
then
way,
the Death Core of Krieg.
just in case anyone didn't get the reference for Pentatonics, it was Ice Ice Baby, done as Old Englishly and obfuscated as possible.
Yep. Will it ever cease? I don't know. It was probably a big away for me.
Yeah.
I had to include something at the end to make it less obfuscated, for sure.
Yeah. I had a feeling it was Ice Ice Baby. At first, I was like, is he doing Drops of Jupiter? But I was like, no.
You mean drips of cinnamon, right?
Yeah.
Douse the torches and all glow.
My goodness. Listen, you know, I really should be getting AI to do the songwriting for me, but I probably sat there for about 45 minutes yesterday, just like, how do I turn one paragraph of Ice Ice Baby into an Old English? And I was like, damn, how do you turn collaborate into a Old English? Finally, I was like, pledge. That's it. That was the one that took me the longest, was just one word.
There was a webpage from years and years ago where somebody tried converting the lyrics of some Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back to like Old English. And they got stuck. They got stuck when it got it going like a turbo vet. You know, there was no sort of nothing to sort of to equate those words to.
Got it going like a destrier. Yes, of course.
Yeah. James, was there a specific book that you used for creating a second character, like a descendant?
Knights and Ladies. Has like, so specifically it's got with all the choices in character creation, it's got like, you can do it what's in the book, i.e. roll dice. You can do it shaped, you can do it based upon your parent, for example. So that's where I got the rule from, rolling 1d6 per 4 in the passions to copy the father's passions, because you normally the rule in the book is you either roll 3d6 and then you can either take that or exactly what your father's passion was.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So
I'll
Winterface
see everyone
at the start
next
of...
week.
No.
No.
Was that a no?
I think.
Oh, is this the show where we're out for a while?
We're back on the 19th, I believe.
Yeah, back on the 19th, and then I'm gone for 3 weeks after that.
July 19th. I don't know if anyone knew this, but Pondo's birthday is July 18th.
Oh. On July 19th is my wife's best friend's birthday.
And we're getting them spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't know what to say to that.